Good morning. We have arrived in France. Didn't get much sleep. So get ready. The trip begins. This is all the stuff that I'm bringing on this trip. Look at that. I've got all my stuff down to fit on my bed. Yeah, you can't take that much on a bike, which is great.
In terms of experience, the trip was a success. We cycled 137 miles around a foreign country within 9 days. Pair that with, our limited cycling knowledge and experience in the past. It was a great experience, and it was an achievement, especially being kids.
I really liked that we did the most miles on the first day. It just sort of got you ready for the rest of the trip, I guess. And because I'd never done a bicycle tour before, it was the most intense, new, drop into the ocean sort of vibe. So because it was the first day, it was kind of like you didn't know anything at all about bicycle touring. So everything was new and everything was exciting. Everything was also a challenge, so that was quite interesting. It was just, I think the excitement from building up to the trip and actually getting onto the ferry, being in France on our own was just, on its own, just awesome.
We met some of the most amazing people, such a broad range of people. And that's what traveling does, especially by bike. So we're trudging through some of the smallest villages in Brittany, really slowly as well, and villages that by car you would just zoom right by.
Bikers can go where cars can't go, can go through streets that pedestrians can't go through. You have access to pretty much anywhere. So I think that's pretty cool, so you can see different things or things that most people wouldn't see, I guess.
And I think it was the realization that I would never meet some of these people that we did meet in these small villages and on our travels. I think it was the realization that I would not see these people again that made every single small interaction that much more special and something to cherish.
Day 5 of the trip, and we haven't filmed that much. We haven't filmed that much. Yeah.
In terms of the original goal, this trip was a failure. Yes, we met some incredible people, and we traveled the distance. We ate delicious fruit, but the original plan was to film a documentary. And that didn't go through. So when I was planning this film, I had visualised telling the story through the locals' perspectives.
But once I got home and I looked at the footage, I realised that I didn't even film one interview with one of the locals. And it's that idea about what you produce versus what you planned. And for the longest time, I thought I'd failed. I thought this whole French scene for the film just won't even make the cut. But, you know, after looking back at the footage and after sitting on all these ideas and thoughts that were going through my head, I realised that it was completely different.
I did come back with footage. Yes, it's different from, you know, what I had originally planned to film, but is that difference necessarily a negative thing? And in my opinion, it isn't, because I think it's more real. I think it shows the struggles that we had in terms of filmmaking and in the use of our plastic, which the film is about. In terms of filmmaking, I think that whole experience and that whole trip has actually, one, taught me so much about filmmaking and sticking to what you plan to make and carrying out what your plans say. And two, was the acceptance that documentary filmmaking is very different to, you know, narrative filmmaking. Yes, you can put the time and effort into one single shot to make it, you know, the way you wanted it. And yes, in lots of terms, it's very similar. As a documentary filmmaker, you are putting yourself in that situation, almost like a journalist, and you're documenting it. So whatever happens, that is the story. And with the type of filmmaking that I'm doing, the real stories, the true stories are that come from your experiences documented well. And yes, I came back with footage that was different from what I planned to come back with. It's still something that tells a really great story in terms of plastic use. So it's actually been a really good plus on that side.
Stop. It's electric.
Did you get electrocuted? Ow! Did you actually?
Oh, I'm filming.
Oh, should I start recording? Oh, it's on film.
Oh, we're filming.
Guys, we just did 0.6 miles.